financial state will you leave your family in? Let's talk about it. Hi, I'm Kimberly Ivory Graves, your HELP, Holistic Elite Legacy Planner, aka Help Me Kimberly. I'm also the author of Leaving Peace in Order, which is a step-by-step guide to getting your affairs in order. If you're interested in getting a copy of my book, go to my website, HelpMeKimberly.com, and place your order. My book also has an accompanying workbook in the regular size, in the mini size, and it also comes on a flash drive. So when you place your order, make sure that you make your selection accordingly. This is the Living Peace and Order show, where we share tips to a life of love and peace through Jesus Christ and steps to getting your affairs in order. Before we get started on today, let me give you your assignment. If you would, hit that like button and share, and even tag someone. Let them know that you are viewing the Living Peace and Order show now. If you're on my YouTube channel, make sure that you hit that subscribe button if you haven't, and that notification button so you won't miss a show. And I'd love to hear from you on either platform. Why don't you leave me a comment? Let me know whether you're enjoying the Living Peace and Order show. Thank you. Well, our scripture for the week is found in Psalms 37:37, and it reads, "Mark the perfect man, and behold the upright, for the end of that man is peace." And each week I share the scripture for the week because the Living Peace and Order show is divided into two segments. The first segment is the peace aspect, where we share 52 weeks of peace, and each week we share a different scripture. This is aired on Clubhouse every Saturday at 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. The second aspect of the Living Peace and Order show is the order aspect, and that's aired every Tuesday and Thursday on YouTube and Facebook at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. And this is where we talk about getting your affairs in order. So make sure you're following us on all of those platforms. Our topic this evening is, what financial state will you leave your family in? The last show, we talked about the widow woman and her oil, and we talked about use what you got. In that particular show, we talked about the widow woman, and we had 7 takeaways. And I'm just going to give a quick recap of how this widow woman miraculously paid off her debt that her husband left her. The 7 takeaways are: the widow woman and her sons were in financial trouble. Number 2, the widow woman sought help. Number 3, the widow woman minimized what she had. Number 4, the widow woman and her sons followed specific instructions. Number 5, God maximized what the widow woman had. Number 6, the widow woman paid her debt. And number 7, the widow woman became wealthy enough for her and her sons to live. Now that's what happened in this particular story on last week. I want to go back, and now let's take a look at the widow's late husband. The scripture says, "The wife of a man from the company of the prophets cried out to Elijah, 'Your servant, my husband, is dead. And you know that he revered the Lord. But now his creditor is coming to take my 2 boys as his slave.'" So the first thing we find out is that her husband is dead, thus she's a widow. But we don't know anything about him. We don't know his name. We don't know his age. All we know is that he was a part of the company of the prophets, so he was a man of faith. He feared God and he served the prophet Elijah, but he died and left his family in debt. So much debt that the creditor, after he died, the creditor was coming to take his two sons, and make them slaves to pay off this debt. Now, this is all we know about this man. But, I was thinking, especially those who are heads of households, leaders of organizations or ministries, or those who run businesses and have employees, if you passed away, besides grief, how would your passing affect your family, your organization, your ministry, or your employees financially? Have you thought about that? Would you leave a lot of debt if you passed away tomorrow? Do you have adequate insurance? Are your final wishes and bylaws in place? Does anyone know where all of your financial documents are located? These are important questions because when you think about the widow woman, and although her husband loved God, feared God, worked in ministry, did all of this, great stuff as serving the church and all, he left his family in debt. He left his wife and children in trouble. And I guess I want to speak to especially the pastors, the leaders, the business owners. Please don't leave those who depend upon you with a lot of debt. Make plans and preparations now to get out of debt. It may be making sure that you have a large enough insurance policy to pay off whatever debt you may have left. I know that there are some insurance policies that you can get on the home that you can get that if the spouse or someone passes or the head of the household passes away, that the home would be paid for automatically. Look into types of insurances that you can get in place to make sure that you're not leaving your business, you're not leaving your organization, you're not leaving your ministry with a lot of debt. Now, as I think about this man and owing someone, the Bible tells us to owe no man anything but to love them. So in order to get out of debt, you must have a plan. You must, first of all, assess where you are. And that is looking at what's coming in and what's going out. And you should not have more going out than what's coming in. And so even as it relates to, say, your home or your businesses, the first step after assessing where you are is to begin to get on a plan and find ways to cut expenses, cut unnecessary spending. The third thing that you need to do is to determine how you can get more income in your household, income in your ministry or your organization, and income in your business. So I'm talking to different individuals. You may, like I said, you may be the head of the household. You may be the head of an organization and responsible for the finances, the financial state of that organization. You may be the head of the ministry. Or you may have a business and the head of that business and have employees. Individuals are relying on you to manage the money wisely and not leave them in debt. So, like I said, the steps are: 1, assessing where you are financially. 2, setting up a budget, a spending plan, knowing what's going out and what's coming in, and then making those adjustments to eliminate unnecessary spending. And the next, determine how to increase the income. Now, in the story last time, or the story we find later, this particular story that I shared in the last show, the widow woman had a miracle because she had to pay this debt that her husband left her. And you may say, well, the Lord will provide and he'll take care of my family if I'm gone. But we have a responsibility as head of households, head of businesses, head of ministry. We have a responsibility not to just be haphazard and say, well, the Lord will take care of them. But we have a responsibility to do all that we can to get out of debt and to pay our bills off. And just a brief testimony, I am grateful that the Lord blessed Douglas and me to get out of debt. We literally did that. We set up a plan. We began to, first of all, assess where we were as it relates to what was going out and what was coming in. We started eliminating unnecessary spending. We got on a spending plan or a budget and started paying down our debt, getting rid of the credit card debts, getting rid of any kind of car loans or any other loans. And the final bill was our home. And then the Lord blessed us in 2020 to pay off our home. And so we're debt free. So I can't stress it enough that the importance of really believing that you can be debt free. It is possible. And we don't make millions and millions of dollars. We just took the little that we had and we developed a plan. We got instructions, we sought wisdom, and then the Lord also blessed us. So that's what I want to say to you. No matter your capacity, again, if you're the head of the household, if you're head of an organization or head of a ministry, or if you own a business and have employees and you have individuals that are relying on you financially, make sure you do what you can now and even set it up even for later through life insurance to make sure that you are not leaving those individuals in financial trouble and in debt or leaving your debt with them. I'm Kimberly Ivory Graves, and I hope that something was said to encourage you to live a life of love and peace through Jesus Christ. Thank you for listening to Living Peace in Order. God bless you. I love you with the love of Jesus. Thank you.